Hello, I'm David F. Sandberg. So it's been 10 years since Lotta and I made Cam Closer, our first horror short that we made together and started us on the path to make Lights Out, which then led to Hollywood and everything.
And
The way
everything.
that short came to be is that back in the day, I used to make a lot of little visual effects videos and
Nice.
tests. I'd shoot on my mini DV camera and do VFX in After Effects.
Wow, After
But the
Effects.
thing was that after I'd done a shot, there was nothing to do with it. You couldn't put it on Vine or TikTok or something because
Wow.
those things didn't exist. Most of this was before even YouTube existed. And one day, 10 years ago, I had this idea of a phone camera that could see things that your eyes couldn't. I wanted to try to shoot that effect, but I figured rather than doing just another VFX test that nobody would ever see, we could add a little bit of a story, and now it's a short film. That's something you can show to people. Since it's the 10-year anniversary, we wanted to revisit the ideas of Cam Closer.
Nice.
At first, I actually thought about shooting it on Super 8 film.
That would've
Lotta
been
gave me a
cool.
Super 8 camera for Christmas, and I just love the way Super 8 looks.
That's amazing.
It's grainy and blurry, but you get this really nice, nostalgic feel to the images. Sure, you can shoot on digital and emulate the look, but
True.
it's not really the same thing. So I've been wanting to shoot a little short on Super 8. Ideally, it would be something outside since I find nature looks really nice on film. But the main thing would be that it's something without visual effects. The Super 8 format doesn't really lend itself to VFX work. And since this film doesn't really have any VFX, it would have worked. There's a split screen and some masking to have Lotta play both parts,
Oh, she's
but
playing
that's only
both
in
parts.
footage on
That's
the
amazing.
phone, which would have to be shot on video anyway. I did shoot some tests on Super 8 to see how things would look. I shot this on Kodak Vision 3 500T stock. Interestingly, when you shoot a macro shot of a phone screen on Super 8, you can hardly even tell that it's a phone screen. It just looks like Super 8 footage.
Nice.
Ultimately, it didn't really feel right for this short. To shoot on Super 8, you'd have to plan everything out precisely.
It's true.
While it's the cheapest film format, it's still not cheap. At the very least, you'd have to storyboard everything. I figured I'd probably even pre-shoot the film on video, something really rough and quick that you could then cut together and see exactly what shots you need, how long they need to be, and how much film you need to buy. Because with film, you definitely don't want to just let the camera roll and do lots of takes.
True.
But
It's
there was a
very true.
weekend coming up, and I figured if we shoot on digital, we could just do it that weekend. No need to storyboard or shot list or anything.
Nice.
Just have fun. For the ghost, I bought a creepy mask on Etsy from Pumpkin Pulp Ink.
Oh, very
I
nice.
added some black tulle behind the eyes, and Lotta wore a black surgical mask underneath the creepy mask so that we wouldn't see her eyes or mouth.
Wow.
The hair was just a basic black wig from Amazon. So, like in some of our other shorts, Lotta played both parts. But my thumb makes a cameo in this shot. I knew we'd have to shoot this short over at least 2 evenings because of the phone screens. You see, on the first Cam Closer, everything you see on the phone screen is live. The way it was shot was putting the camera on a tripod and filming the phone seeing or not seeing something. Then you shoot just the background with or without the object or person in it. Then in
And put
After
it
Effects, I
together.
would cut out the phone and hand from the first take and put it over the second.
Wow. That's all.
I remember reading comments from people thinking that the way it was done was with a pre-recorded video playing back on the phone, and that's how we did it for this movie. Since it was going to be pre-recorded, that's why we needed to shoot it over at least 2 evenings. We'd have to shoot what was going to be seen on the phone first, and then I'd have to put it into a fake phone interface and prepare the videos. The videos I made and animated in After Effects.
Wow.
So every time you see the phone screen in this short, it's a video playing back. That
Interesting.
includes interacting with the screen. Every time Lotta needs to push something on screen or move the phone at a precise moment, I added a beeping sound. On the 4th beep would be when to interact with the phone.
Oh, nice.
This proved to be more difficult than expected. Lotta couldn't actually touch the screen because then the video wouldn't be full screen anymore and give away the trick.
That was pretty cool.
Another hard thing was the reveal of the stairs. Vad fan hände nu? I wanted the phone to stop in a very specific place, centered up on
Oh,
screen,
lining up with
and this turned
this.
out to be very
Yeah.
tricky. So what I did was I reversed the video on the phone. Now we
Oh,
could start the shot with the phone right where I wanted it to be, and then take it out of the frame. Then when you play that footage back in reverse, what's on the phone screen looks correct. For the shots where we're really close to the phone and I wanted things to be steady, I put together this little rig. The
oh,
first cam
wow.
closer I shot on the best camera I had at the time, which was the Panasonic GH1. It was one of the early still cameras that had a video function. It had a terribly low bitrate, but there was a hack you could install on it to increase the bitrate. There was one problem with the hack though. If there was too much details moving around in frame, like shooting a wide shot of a tree with lots of leaves in focus on a windy day,
It would go,
the camera
yeah.
would freeze up. But as long as you stayed away from sharp, windy trees, it was a pretty capable camera that I used a lot. Eventually, I got into Blackmagic cameras because they can shoot in RAW, which is the best possible image capture. From then on, I shot all of our shorts on Blackmagic cameras.
That's amazing.
And that's what I was going to use for Cam Closer 2. In fact, we started shooting with my Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro and the lens I always use, the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. I had it on a shoulder rig with a monitor and follow focus. I'd make my little marks on the follow focus and so on. We shot quite a bit of the short like this that first evening, but there was something about it that didn't feel fun. It felt a bit slow and technical or something. And you know, my day job when I'm not trying to be a YouTuber is directing films that are very slow and technical to make, and it's not always fun. I was feeling nostalgic for the days of shooting on mini DV camcorders where you just had a little camera in your hand that
want to
wasn't
see
all
that. That's
rigged
amazing.
out and you could move around really fast. You didn't have a razor thin depth of field, so it wasn't as tricky to keep things in focus. I just wanted to feel some joy in filming. I needed that.
Oh my.
So I decided to use my Panasonic GH6 instead. It felt kind of fitting to use the bigger brother of the camera we shot the first cam closer on.
Nice.
And I used the Lumix 12-35 f2.8 lens. Not as fast as the Sigma lens, but the Lumix and GH6 combo has amazing image stabilization. So you could just keep the camera in your hands. You don't need a shoulder rig, and it made me more inclined to move the camera around.
There's yeah.
Sometimes I moved around a little too much, like when I banged the camera into Lotta's head and gave her a bump on the forehead. Thankfully, that was the last shot we needed of her face on camera, so it was all good. The GH6 is just really fun to shoot with, and now I enjoy the process more. And that's something that can be important. The most fun camera I have to shoot with is my 360 camera. With that, you don't have to worry about focus or framing when you're shooting. Just put the camera in interesting places, throw it in the air or whatever. I don't know if I'll ever shoot a short with it, but it is fun to
You
use.
should.
And I still love my Blackmagic camera. It just didn't feel right for this project. I still use the Pocket 6K footage we'd shot for the phone screens though. I used a 14mm lens for that to get a really wide field of view. The GH6 can't shoot RAW internally like the Blackmagic, but it can shoot really high quality ProRes.
Oh, ProRes,
The
nice.
Lumix lens is focused by wire, which means that the focus ring isn't actually coupled with the lens elements. The way this type of lens normally works is that turning the focus ring a certain amount will get you different results depending on what speed you're turning it at. So repeatable focus pulling is very difficult.
Wow.
However, the GH6 has a setting where you can change the focus ring to be linear. Now it behaves more like expected. You can even set how much rotation you want
wow.
to go from near to far focus, which is kind of neat. Another focus function I used was the focus transition feature. You can set up to 3 different focus positions, set the focus pulling speed, and then switch between them with the press of a button.
Wow.
But most of the time I was just pulling focus manually. Since the GH6 has a smaller sensor and the lens was a 2.8, the depth of field wasn't that shallow. For lights, I used a few good old-fashioned paper lanterns with regular household LED bulbs inside them. Our living room is quite dark, so I needed to raise the overall light
wow.
level a bit. These lights on the wall, we usually just have bare bulbs in, but I put these lampshades on since bare blown-out bulbs would not look great. What you see in the phones we shot on a Saturday, then we shot most of the film on Sunday, but we still had a couple of shots to do. We couldn't shoot on Monday, so we had to wait until Tuesday for those last shots. A problem with this was that the flowers on the table looked very different from Saturday to Tuesday.
Oh,
I didn't think anyone would pay too much attention to the flowers, except for one shot that we still hadn't done: the reveal of the ghost in the camera app. That shot was all about comparing what's different in the phone screen from reality. We tried to prop up the flowers,
I
but
wouldn't have even
eventually I just had
noticed.
to go out and buy some new ones. They definitely looked different, but it goes by
Continuity.
quickly,
It
and I
does
doubt
matter.
anyone looks at that. So the budget for this film was the cost of a mask, a wig, and some tulips. Although you can see that I always have a Rode mic on my GH6, I didn't use any of that audio. Like all our shorts, the sound was recorded afterwards.
They're in the closet. Yeah, it's sound.
I used a Zoom F6 with a Rode NTG1 mic. All the audio work was done in Reaper. For some
Oh,
reason,
right.
we tend to live in places with really creaky floors, which is great for horror movies, but the floors in this house turned out to be too creaky. This house is almost 100 years old. When I played back the first version for Lotta, she said it was way too distracting.
Huh.
I redid it several times, tried different spots around the house to find the least noisy spots, and even then I had to go through and edit out the biggest, most distracting pops. The editing and everything but the sound was done in Resolve. For
Uh,
color, I did very little. I used the standard Panasonic V-Log LUT and just did some minor adjustments here and there to adjust brightness and color temperature a little bit. Would the film have looked better if it was shot on the Blackmagic with the Sigma lens and more effort was spent grading it? Yeah, but it would have become more of a chore. And when something is a chore, you're less likely to do it.
it's
And I
true.
just needed to experience some enjoyable filmmaking without any stress or pressure. You know, sometimes it's nice to not worry too much about the details and just have some fun making a movie.
Pony Smasher. So that was the behind the scenes in the making of Cam Closer 2, directed by David F. Sandberg and Lotta Lutzen. This is great. I always do love seeing behind the scenes making of any movie, whether it be on DVD or, like this on YouTube. David is one of my current favorite directors. Love his energy, love the way he explains things, and seeing the cameras he uses, the software, the audio, like it's absolutely mind blowing and amazing how much time he puts into it. And like he said at the end, just have fun making a movie without the pressure and the stress of it and the little details. And, I didn't notice certain things in Cam Closer too because I was so focused on what was happening in the story. And when he said about the flowers and everything, but it's true also, continuity does matter as well. And this is great. To be honest, I would love to see David like teach a filmmaking class or a master class filmmaking class or anything for that matter, where he goes around and teaches up and comers about film because he knows his stuff about film. I mean, if you look at his YouTube channel, if you see the Hollywood films that he's made, it's so intricate with details, but it's very different than what any other director has done, especially in the horror genre and the element wise of it all. This is fantastic, and I'm can't wait to see what David and Lotta have in store for us next. David said he's taking a break from certain feature films that he's directing and going to start doing short films and probably go back into the horror genre. Cam Closer 2, let's see if it leads to a part three, maybe, or other films for that matter, and sequels to his other short horror films. This is fun. This is great, and I can't wait. And David and Lotta, you guys are amazing, and much love to both of you, and happy success as well, because it's great to see that you're come so far from being on YouTube and now being doing what you love. It's absolutely, absolutely mind blowing. Big fan, and thank you so much. And I do want to thank David and Lotha for checking out my reaction videos to their short horror films that I have done on my YouTube channel. I myself am an up and coming filmmaker, so all these little anecdotes I take and really use them, and it's really, really fun, especially with seeing how David is really precise and pristine with everything, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'll leave a link in the description box below to the behind the scenes and the making of Cam Closer 2. You can check it out and let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this behind the scenes. And be sure you click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for new videos on my channel. I will see you all in the next video, and thank you for tuning in.